Okay, let's get into it. I have my School of the Hebrews cup. I'm out here. My dogs are around me, so we may hear from them or see them. But I'm halfway through, 50% of the way through uh, my book. It's, what's the name of it? It's After by Anna Todd. Mm, I get moody with my books. Mm, Sometimes in the mood for certain things, sometimes I'm in the mood for other things. It all depends. And I honestly like to read based off my mood. Uh, so I decided to look at one of my booktubers recommendation videos because I like her. Now, by the way, not all booktube recommendations are equal. Let me just say, some of them, they just write what's popular. And what happens is they all start recommending the same books. And obviously, they're just reading whatever each other is recommending and then they're regurgitating it. Um, and every reader, I guess, is different. You know, some books are just that, they just hit and they're good. But uh, I can't just be like, I like everything that someone else recommends. Sometimes, most of the times, a lot of the times, it's just not my deal. So, but this booktuber, I think her name is More to Mary. More to Mary. I like her. See my little edges messed up? That's all right. I'll fix them up if I'm going somewhere. So, More to Mary. I kind of like her. I like her. I like her style. I like her recommendations. Um, we haven't fell out. Me and Mary haven't fell out. So she recommends in one of her recommendation videos, after she says it's a book that got her into booktubing. It got her into reading again, and it had a huge impression on her. Now, first, let me say this: because it was her initial book that got her into it, I knew that it may not be the greatest book. I figured mm, it affected her though, because your first book that kind of got you into it, it's like it's good, but once you get used to, you develop a standard. So I kind of figured this may not be a standard, but it had to leave a lasting impression. So let me check it out. Let me check it out. So I'm reading this book, 50% of the way through. Um, it's basically a romance. It almost feels like a little bit of a coming of age for at least for the female character going away to college. It's definitely angsty. Um, mm, it's definitely kind of youthful. I don't know if it's classified under YA, but it appears to be sort of YA, right? Um, and, and right now, I like the story. I'm engaged by the story. The writer writes well. It's not a hard read. It's an easy read. I'm getting through pretty effectively. My main concern, honestly, is the what appears to be ignorance of the female character, and her, let's say, her pendulum of, uh, mm, I guess, morals, because she seems to assign them to others, but it becomes very subjective when it comes to her, you know? Because she does have a boyfriend, and she's had a boyfriend with a guy that she's been with for years, who's been very committed to her, but she doesn't seem to feel really any real remorse for cheating on him, you know, and she does it because of how she feels. And I just really wish if she had such a strong moral center, you know, she would have handled that situation better. But I guess the author want to play her like she's ignorant, but ignorant doesn't is not an excuse for bad character as far as I'm concerned. And so I got issues, you know, with her. The male character, who I think they're trying to paint as a bad boy, right? This cute bad boy who obviously has some type of trauma in his history. They keep foreshadowing and alluding to the trauma. I don't have as much problem with him. Now I will say I may be a little sexist, you know. I may be a little. But I think he's been honest with who he is, and I think he's been honest with what he wants, which I think is a little different from her. I don't think she's been honest with herself and what she wants and who she is, and so it makes me like him a little bit more. But you know, they're supposed to be opposites attract. You know, I'm at the point in the book where they're together. At least she thinks they are. I don't know what he thinks they are. There's been no intercourse, you know, but it's been pretty spicy, you know, a good amount of spice that has me, you know, intrigued, right? But I just don't like how she did her ex-boyfriend. The way she broke up with him, sad, real sad, pitiful. How's the author going to recover from that? You know, for me, if I was the writer, I would have to paint the ex-boyfriend in some type of way negative in order to justify me as the reader's response to how she's treating him, or in some way this girl has to come to some awareness of her character and you know, have to ask for some, you know, be apologetic in some type of way. But right now I don't see that, and I'm halfway through a 600-page book, and let me just say, 600 pages. I have to know that author, and I have to trust this book to commit to 600 pages, because 600 pages of a hard read is a real difficult time. But 600 pages of a great author, you just wanted to keep going, right? So I had to trust Mary. I had to trust Mary, but it's more to Mary. I had to trust her. And I will say these 300 pages have gone really smoothly for me, and I'm excited. Come to find out, there's a book 2. Supposedly there's no reconciliation at the end of the book, and it's supposed to be a movie. So I can't wait to, you know, it's an experience. I'm diving into this, you know. What I would like to see happen, I would like to see her, of course, get a little bit of maturity, a little accountability for herself and not just blaming others. And I would like to see with Hardin is his name. I would like to see Hardin start to open up more about his past and his trauma and how it's actually affected his decisions. Let me also say this, because I got another thing to kind of tick me off. You know, I get stuff to kind of tick me off. I get a little tick. And what ticked me off is that this young man, Hardin, doesn't have the best relationship with his father. For whatever reasons, you know, right now they're saying his dad basically has some substance abuse, drinking issues, abandoned him and his mother when he was 10 years old. He's from Europe, and his dad from the States. Now he's in college. His dad is remarrying, and he just doesn't have a great relationship with his father. He's kind of rebellious. He's kind of belligerent and resistant with his father. And then this girl is in his life, and he don't even know her. I mean, he's known her for a month, but I feel like she be getting in the business too much when he said no. Girl, if I said no, don't touch it, don't deal with it, don't talk to my dad. But at one point, the dad invites her to dinner at his house, and she says she going with or without him. Where they do that at? I mean, honestly, he dealt with it, but I thought it was supremely disrespectful. And it's even more so because she had an issue herself. Earlier in the book, when she was going to parties and getting drunk, experimenting, her boyfriend, who she effed over, told her mother. And she had an issue with herself being grown at 18 and her boyfriend tattling on her. And she thought that was an issue. Well, what's different from you going to this man's house when he don't have a relationship with his dad? And her name is Tessa. Her full name is Theresa, but her dad calls her Theresa. But see, her dad abandoned her when she was 10, so she doesn't like for people to call her Theresa because it pulls up bad memories of her father. Now she can identify with that. So that's my problem with Miss Tessa. That's why I want her to get some, understanding. I feel like she can have expectations for others that she doesn't have for herself and that she doesn't see within herself. Mm-hmm. So I am hoping there's some understanding. I'm wondering, because the father is the chancellor of the college, and I'm wondering if some of the trauma that he did, because they're painting him as this good guy, and they're trying to make Harden look like he's just this belligerent, out of control teen. But I wonder if something really bad triggered his thought process, his actions, and so that they're actually justified. I'm really excited about learning that, and I'm actually hoping that's the case. I'm hoping the chancellor did something and her kissing his butt and trying to be all girlfriend of the year or whatever. I'm hoping that it kind of blows up in her face and Harden is then redeemed. I'm hoping. We'll see. 300 more pages. I like to come back, let you know what's about. See if Mary did me in. And see if I actually will read anything else by this author. See if I'm ever in the mood, and if I'm willing to actually watch the movie. See, them doggos, them my babies. So let's see if I'm even willing to read anything else or even watch the movie. Mm-hmm. All right. Okay.